One. Hey, Greg, welcome to the NTM Growth Marketing Podcast. I'm excited to be speaking with you today.
Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Looking
So
forward
this
to
is going to be
the
a
discussion.
cheesy transition to the discussion, but marketing and sales go hand in hand. We're both wearing black shirts.
We
I
didn't
got the
even
little
talk
V-neck.
before.
Before we get into this world of marketing and sales, and this is a different style of conversation we wanted to have today based on you and I going back and forth a few weeks ago of the intersection of, these two divisions at organizations. I just want to know, why did you choose sales as your career?
Oof, boy, that's a tough one. It wasn't supposed to be this way. The short story is I went to school for electrical engineering and graduated as with a BSEE. And I'm originally from New York City, and I moved out here with my engineering degree. I won't say the year because that'll date me too much. But when I came out here to San Diego looking for a job as a design engineer, it was at a point where the military business was slowing down. There wasn't much happening in San Diego. And anyway, I ended up just, when I went for engineering interviews, I kept getting offers for sales jobs. And I said, no, I'm engineer. They said, no, you're a technical sales guy. At that stage, I didn't know that being able to actually talk to people and not look at my shoes and also have a grasp on technology was kind of a nichey thing. And that's, I fell into it, started out as a applications engineer, keeping the engineering side, going out with salespeople and being their technical resource.
Mhm.
Realized they were making a little bit more money than I was. I seemed to be doing all the work. So that's when the transition happened.
Now let's go to the theme of today, which is marketing and sales. In your experience over the years, what are some of the biggest challenges that marketing and sales have with one another?
Oh boy, good question. And it is a huge issue. And there's a lot of things that bubble under the surface. I would say the largest issue I see is the lack of collaboration between the two departments and having it, unfortunately, sometimes being more of an adversarial relationship than a partnership. I believe in kind of this silly term that's been going around for a while, smarketing. We've been hearing
I've
over
never
the
heard of that
last.
actually.
Yeah, yeah. So when I get into engagement with my clients, one of the first things I do is I meet with the marketing director, and
Mhm.
I want to make sure that there's constant, we at least weekly at a minimum, meeting communication to make sure that we're aligned. I'm communicating what the sales team needs. They're communicating what marketing is, the direction they're going to head in, and we can work together and also bring the sales team and the marketing teams to have, for instance, I almost never see weekly sales and marketing collaborative meetings together.
Why do you
So
think
what
that's
happens
so?
is, yeah, because I guess people just don't think that way. I don't know, man. I mean, to me, it's shocking because, marketing should be the driving the MQL engine, which goes to the salespeople and they take the SQLs to a sales, hopefully. So what I see more than often not is the battle that happens is marketing says, hey, we're giving you all these leads and you guys aren't closing anything because they're being measured on their ROI for their MQLs they're generating, right? And the salespeople say what, Andrew? What do they say?
You're sending us bad leads.
Right, exactly. So that's what I see all day long, every client I start working with. So it's bridging that gap and looking at, where do we want to be in 12 months? How do we get there collaboratively? Knock down the silos, man. That's the problem.
What are some of those initial meetings like for you when you're trying to bring these two departments together? Is it confrontational? Is it pointing fingers? Is it like, kumbaya, we're all in this together, let's figure out the solution?
All right, I just take this one with a grain of salt, friend. Usually, the feedback is very positive from the sales team. Thank goodness somebody is here helping us talk to these marketing people to give us what we need for social media content, drip campaigns, whatever it may be, helping do white papers or webinars. There's so many different kinds of things. Where I run into a little bit of the challenge, to be frank, is from the marketing department because the feeling sometimes is, okay, sales guy, what do you know about marketing? This is our
Mhm.
place. Stay in your lane. And I believe that our lanes are right next to each other and we should be
Mhm.
driving in the same direction, working together. So that there's hesitation because then the sales team will also tell me, well, marketing isn't doing this. Marketing is this laundry list of things that aren't done. And as soon as I start talking to the marketing manager, then sometimes they may puts them in a little bit of a defensive posture.
Mhm.
So it takes a little bit and letting them know, look, I'm just here to make things better for all of us. And if you can work with the sales team and you can collaborate on what our ideal client wants to see, we can do some really great stuff.
So let's put marketing on the hot seat. Uh, what are some things you wish marketers knew about sales or sales teams?
Wow. Um, hmm.
If you were having your like journal at night and you're like, Dear Diary, tell me, you know what I'm saying?
I think that the thing and the reason I struggle on this is because there's two particular designations we're talking about,
Mhm,
B2B and B2C.
mhm,
Completely different thought process there, right?
mhm,
So in the B2B world, I would like to, I would like them to know that just because you say it's a lead in marketing, don't take this the wrong way, and MQL doesn't mean that's real business.
mhm,
And I think there's an assumption with marketing, and rightfully so. You guys are doing a lot of work bringing those leads in. Also, that not all these things are going to close. A lot of times, sales cycles, even if it's a lead, especially in B2B, 3, 6, 12 months, it can take a long time. I also think that marketing people should be aware that there are needs that the sales team has. And really, the message would be again, you'll hear it from me over and over and over is please communicate with each other.
mhm,
There's never an engage. When I go in with my clients, it's because they're having challenges in sales. And then when I dig in deeper, the communication between sales marketing is almost non-existent. And the sales team always has a laundry list of things that they would like to see done. And the thing that I hear from them is they bring these things or they'll send an email to marketing and marketing goes, okay, we'll put it on our list. You in marketing know you have your own directives. The CEO wants you to do this and that. So I find a lot of times that those things get buried and they never get done. So what I have to do is end around the whole thing and go to the CEO and say, hey, we have an issue here
mhm,
and we need to get these teams working together. And that's immediately what I'll start with is like in the second or third week of an engagement, I will
mhm,
call a hour long marketing and sales meeting and flesh this stuff out with
mhm.
action items and accountability and dates and the whole thing. Long answer,
Uh,
short question, but it's just that's a wobbly one.
yeah. So when we first met at the mastermind meeting, one thing I immediately noticed was, Greg is no BS. He's direct. He holds people accountable. You told me afterwards, you're a softie once someone gets to know you. Pulling back the curtain a little bit right
It's
here.
like an M&M, man. You just got to crack the hard shell.
uh, but when you influence the C-suite when you're at these organizations working directly with the CEO, what are some things you'll say to the CEO about, this marketer gets it? What are some things you look for, whether from a KPI standpoint, either just personality attribute wise, like what to you makes a good marketer when you're inside these companies and you tell the CEO like they get it?
Uh, well, let me back up and it'll answer your question, but in a little bit of a higher level fashion. So this is the overall challenge I see at almost every client, and this will resonate with you. They confuse tactics with strategy.
Mhm,
So when I go to my clients, the discussion is, hey, we're going to do this LinkedIn campaign. Hey, we're going to do this drip campaign. Hey, we're going to do pay for LinkedIn or Google ads. But there's not a cohesive structure of why and how are we doing this and what's the timelines and what's the roadmaps and how are we going to roll these things out? How are we going to build this content? It usually is like almost a ready, shoot, aim type of
mhm,
approach in a lot of cases. So that's why I believe that this is, at the executive level, these discussions, what first of all, why are we marketing? Like, what's the goal at the end,
mhm,
right? And of course, it's MQLs. And some people will say, well, it shouldn't just be measured on MQLs. And I argue that because ROI for a marketing person, in my mind, has to be tied to some. So when I tell my clients that, and I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but when I tell my clients, like, you need to monitor the MQLs that come in from your marketing team and see how they're monetized, that's kind of a shock to them. And to me, it's shocking they don't get that because
mhm,
salespeople are held to their quota number. Why aren't marketing people held accountable for bringing revenue in through the MQLs they generated, or at least monitor that information so maybe we can do some A/B testing and see if we can find out better ways to get things done and reach our ideal client.
mhm. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about AI.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
when we initially met, you were, sharing a bunch of tools you love using.
yeah.
I'd love to get your pulse on, whether you've been, thinking about AI for a while, whether it's been the last year since ChatGPT, like what, in your opinion, is the state of the union of what's going on, and what are some things you would advise people to pay attention to from a sales and marketing perspective this year of how AI is
Yeah.
going to disrupt stuff?
Wow, great question. And yeah, I'm incredibly passionate about AI. I would say I probably did get started with the wave when GPT hit. I've known about
Same
AI.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and let's face it, AI has been around for a really long time. GPT is what finally got it into our faces, right?
Mhm.
So I started using three, started playing around, started learning prompt engineering, which is really key if you want to get good results. I enjoyed arguing with ChatGPT, which I end up doing a lot of the times. And then, I upgraded to four, and that is just doing some really amazing things. Now they integrated Dolly inside of it, which is also super cool.
Yes.
Except for Dolly is, I'm trying to do something for a client that's in the legal space, and I'm trying to get a courtroom setting. And every time the judge has one of those 1800s white wigs on, and I'm telling you, stop with the wigs, and it doesn't seem to want to listen to me. So, yeah, so I use ChatGPT every single day, literally every single day. Sometimes because, as you said, I'm direct. Sometimes it literally may be make this email nicer or smoother because
Yeah.
it just it's kind of throw it out there. But I use it in many cases when a lot of times for email copy when I'll just kind of throw something out there, make this more professional, just basic kind of stuff, or I'll do it for market research a lot, with my clients. I'm also really, really into all the sales AI tools that are coming out
Mhm.
right now. The challenge
What are
is
some of your, can you give a few plugs of any that you're
yeah,
enjoying?
sure. No affiliations of call. I can just tell you ones I think are fun that I like. One is called Gamma.ai.
Mhm.
And what Gamma does is you can put in a prompt and it'll build a PowerPoint presentation for you in about a minute. Another one is called Visla, which does the same thing, but it'll create videos for you. Put the prompt in, it'll give you
Mhm.
a 1 minute, almost like explainer kind of video. So that's super cool. I'm very big on behavioral analysis, so like disk analysis. So I'm a big fan of Crystal Knows. That's
Mhm.
an add-on you can plop on top of LinkedIn, and when you have someone's profile, you click the button, it'll show you what their estimated disk profile is, how to send emails, how to send contacts. So I'm using those three an awful lot, and I'm looking into some of the list kind of gathering things to see where they go. Like I use seamless.ai or apollo.io to get our list with contacts and all that. They're starting to do lots of cool things with sequences and whatnot. So I'm paying attention. That's the good side, but there's a dark side to it too. And I think the first thing people need to know, and especially in your space, which I know you do, is there's been big changes with Gmail and Yahoo in the last month, right? So if you don't
Mhm.
have your backend domain set up on your DNS with your DMARC and your SPIF, like you're not going to get through. I've been telling my clients now if they're going to do large volume campaigns to set up an alternate URL, a .net,
Mhm.
a .biz or something, because it's very likely you're going to get shut down. If your primary domain gets shut down, it gets tagged as spam, you're in big trouble.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. The bigger thing though is now you have lots of people using AI prospecting and the emails are getting worse and worse and less personal. So I think this creates an opportunity for true salespeople and marketing people with differentiation with personalization. You do have to slow down. The days in
Mhm.
my unless you're B2C, but if you're B2B, the days of sending out 5,000 emails and hoping somebody bites on the hook, it's getting less and less. They sound all the same. So I'm a big believer in slowing down and creating personalized introductions. And at least you can use some canned stuff, but at least have the first paragraph, and then maybe if you want a sequence for like second and third touch, fine. But then the fourth
Mhm.
touch has to be so something like send an email, right? Two sequences, then go to LinkedIn, then maybe make a phone call, then maybe send them a video, then go back to email, then two or three more sequences. I'm kind of the approach now that you need to be touching someone 10 to 12 times, especially at an executive level to even get their attention. I will
Mhm.
tell you, and I get 10, 20 prospect emails a day. I can count on one hand the people that have gone past two emails, literally one hand.
Why do they get past?
No, I'm saying they don't even send past the second
Oh,
email.
oh, they
Make
don't.
two
Okay.
attempts. That's it.
Oh, two attempts. Okay.
I'm like,
Got it.
really? Like that's it? Okay. And they're automated and they're not the other thing is they're not like slow down, like develop your ideal client profile. Why am I getting 10 emails a day about people offering me IT and outsourced software solutions? I'm not your target, man. So take the time that like, volume isn't it. Maybe at one time it was. It's not about volume again, unless you're selling a widget on TikTok or something like that. Sure, then you go out and go crazy and you send emails every 2 or 3 days. I think it's also a different approach in B2B too. It has to be slower
Mhm.
and spaced out more, a little bit more nurturing than by now. You know.
Mhm. Can you share how the buying cycle is different in B2B and B2C settings?
Yeah, sure. In fact, so for my business, I've done it before, but I rarely get involved in B2C clients because my belief is that B2C is very largely a marketing
Mhm.
driven revenue center, right? because if I'm think about it, anything you're buying online, right? You put it in your cart and then 2 or 3 days later you get hit again and again and again. So I believe that B2C is very driven. I believe in B2B, marketing is in a lot of cases more for awareness that cues up the name recognition where then salespeople can get things done. Also, you can get a purchase order directly linked to a marketing email you sent out. I'm not closing a $5 million commercial business to business deal with a marketing email. Maybe we'll see something on LinkedIn and maybe it can begin the discussion. It's not going to be a quick sale though. So I think marketing can
Right.
influence quick consumer business to consumer type of sales. Absolutely. Marketing can own that. I don't even know where sales fits into that unless they're selling kind of like some of the
Right.
B2C people have like buy this $19 thing, and then they have the salespeople come in to try and sell you the $5,000 seminar package. In that case,
Right.
yes. The initial thing for a B2B sale, I think it can be all done by marketing, frankly. If somebody says, oh, I want you to help me with sales, I'm like, what are you doing in marketing? Nothing. I'm like, hire marketing first, talk to me in a year. If that doesn't work, then I'll come in and try and help. Because I don't believe as a sales leader, I can have a lot of impact on the consumer. I know I can have an impact of a CEO of a company that's struggling with a particular issue that I can provide a solution for.
So for our last question today, I want you to give a little bit of a humble brag on yourself and share, a project you stepped into and under your sales guidance and leadership, you produced the results you're happy with them. Can you give a little bit of a, humble brag, quick case study of, what was going on, how you supported them?
Yeah, I'm not great at this stuff. I do have a pretty good story though. So there was a client that I got involved with about 3 years ago, and it's a 17-year-old company, and they'd hit a wall. They were flat in sales for like 2 or 3 years. Didn't know what was wrong. They brought me in there, restructured the sales department, got them a CRM and got that tuned up, developed all the compensation plans so the salespeople were motivated, basically soup to nuts on the operational side. And then I basically jumped in as the fractional VP of sales and led the team, 6 salesperson team. First 2 quarters we were building and fixing. The next 8 quarters we had record revenue in a row, consecutive revenue records. We started out when I started there was 5 million. The end of the engagement we were at 8.5 million, and the company got bought out by a PE company for a multiple of 5x EBITDA. So that was pretty
Amazing.
cool. Lost the job because I was fractional, but it was really cool. Like, okay, like these guys were struggling and flat, and we got them to the point over 2 years that they were bought out for tens of millions of dollars by a PE company. So that was kind of cool. That was a good one.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for your time today. And lastly, can you leave with us website, URL, social media profiles, best ways to follow up and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the best way is to initially go look at my LinkedIn profile. My name is Greg Grand, Grand, out of San Diego. And because that really gives a real detailed breakdown of my history, my career, and testimonials, recommendations from past clients. And then my main website is gsquaredadvisors.com.
And you heard it from Greg earlier. Do not just try 2 attempts to get a hold of him. You need more, 10 to
Way more,
12.
way more. 10 to 12.
Don't spam them, but just remember that with follow-up.
Yeah, my attitude with that is I tell the prospects, I'm not going away unless you tell me to.
Love it, Greg. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Andrew.